Oh, it's recording. Well, I guess we'll just go. You know how not supposed to be awake I am? I'm so not supposed to be awake that the cat is still asleep under the covers in the bedroom, because that's where he sleeps with me. Yeah. And yeah, here I am. So, what is supposed to be? Except what is? Just that. Just that. This video wasn't supposed to start until I was ready, but the button got pressed as I was adjusting it in the tripod and sitting down, and it started. And I'm just rolling with it, because what is supposed to be? What is? That's it. I was up until 4 a.m. Just loving. I mean, loving. In every way. Loving. And it just puts me at a loss for words, honestly. It's like everything goes whoosh. If you've ever experienced what it's like to have hearing loss, or really just before you pass out, there's this moment where everything, all of the sound and sensation around you just like shuts off. It all goes, and you can hear it and feel it in your head. Everything goes, kind of mutes. It's like that. It's like that in a really incredible way. I mean, it's scary too. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm here expressing because there's something specific that I want to express about that is not easy for me to talk about. And so I want to talk about it for myself. There's the hope that it helps shift something. And I know that's not really the way to go about it, honestly. To go into this expression trying to change anything, that's not really what I want to do. That's not how it works. And I definitely want to let emotion come through, because a lot of this has to do with also the dampening of emotion, the dampening of sensation, something that happens to me, that has happened to me for a while, and on and off. My desire is that whether or not anything changes, to just express this with the hope. And I'm noticing now that I'm in this very unconfident place talking about this, you know. That's just where I am right now. That's just what this is. There's the awareness that it's not me. This is an old identity. This is an old story, a narrative, a package of thoughts, beliefs, things that I have been believing. And in this moment, at least, because I'm just trying to acknowledge what is, it feels tricky to put that down. It feels sticky and tangled. And I know that it's possible, because I know that I have a desire to. a big desire. Oh, and that's why it feels like there's so much tension there. There's such a desire to put this down that I'm pushing. And the more that I'm trying to push it away instead of accepting and letting it fall, the tighter it clings. That is how it works. I see that. But also the more resistance that I generate there, the more it's driving me to find a way to put it down. It's compelling my desire to do so, to be free of this thought, this belief, which I'm going to get to in a minute. But I want to examine the construction of it and my interaction with it. And drink some water, because I feel like I clearly need that. There's a little bit of a headache there. And my tea when it's ready. So my intention is to just express about this. I can feel panic. I can feel anxiety right here. I'm not going to go deeper with analyzing it. That's what I feel. And there is the hope, there's the intention that whether or not anything happens, from this, that I let energy flow and that maybe it benefits someone. That's a desire. That maybe somebody somewhere can relate and appreciate and feel less alone. And maybe a little less broken, because that's the feeling here. And I'm just allowing it to be. I'm not in the place of challenging those statements right now. I'm in the place of just letting them sit, letting them be felt. There's a strong desire to challenge them, but I also feel like that's also not what I want to do. It's not conducive to anything. It clearly isn't. It clearly hasn't been. So what the hell am I talking about? Okay. Sex. We're talking about sex. We're talking actually about arousal and physical pleasure, and allowing yourself to experience physical pleasure, me allowing myself that, which, and here's the narrative, but it's what it is, for the whole of my life, since the first time I was with anyone else, when I lost my virginity, because it was that, I was with a guy. And honestly, since before that, since we started, doing anything, I was 17. Yeah. Didn't have my first kiss until I was 17. And everything kind of happened in the same month, because it was a long distance relationship and he had flown out for like 2 weeks or so. So it was like, all right, cram everything in here. Go, 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 go. And it's always just been a complicated relationship. It's always been, here's the story. I've always had a complicated relationship with arousal, with orgasm, by myself, and especially with a partner. And the other sort of there's a lot of pieces here. But the other sort of main piece is that it's a problem. That it's a problem. It's bad. I don't like it. It is bothersome to me. It's something that irritates me. And I know from that irritation, it's like a grain of sand. And there's a pearl waiting to emerge from all of this. I can feel that so intensely. But from the beginning, you know, when I was younger and it was just me, I never, well, okay, actually, let's take this back. Let's take this back further. Let's go all the way back. When I was very young, I don't know exactly how old, riding in car seats still, because that is the age about that you start to discover sensation on your body, and there's nothing guilty about it. There's nothing weird about it. It just is. There's a pleasing sensation, and you want it to continue, and you start exploring. And when I started exploring that, and it was free of visualization. See, there's no visual component at that point. There is no connection to anything. It's not even like really sexual. I mean, it's just physical pleasure removed from anything else. The same way that, you know, someone tickling your back is pleasing. It's just, this is pleasing in a different way. And almost the first time, like the first couple of times, it was maybe like the third time that I was exploring that on my own as a very young child. Just my body, just pleasurable sensation. My dad walked in and was very embarrassed. And I mean, and this is no blame, you know. Walked in, was very embarrassed, kind of very clearly represented to me that there was something embarrassing happening, right? That the natural exploration, and I'm not blaming anybody, this is just I want to feel this, that the natural exploration of my body and pleasurable sensations was an embarrassment, was an embarrassing thing, was a thing that created shame, and that was to be looked away from. And he made a joke out of it to, you know, comfort himself. And I'm just gonna say what the joke is, because it's, why the fuck not? I'm sharing everything here. At the time, The Simpsons was really huge, right? And there was Itchy and Scratchy on The Simpsons. And he called it that. He was like, I don't remember, it was something about the Itchy and Scratchy game. And it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good. And then there immediately was just this shame around that, around exploring myself, around the experience of physical pleasure. And that's stuck. That's stuck. That's deep fucking in there, man. And there's gonna be so many layers of this to unravel. But I can at least start there. I mean, there's past life shit too, I am sure, of just I mean, sexual repression in general of human beings, especially women, but all human beings in modern secular society, at least secular. Why did I use that word? Because it has to do with the church condemning sexuality and sexual liberation and all of that. Anyway, maybe I should have gotten tissues. Oh well. From the beginning, there's been a lot of shame. The general feeling of wrongness, that this is not appropriate, that this is not allowed, that the exploration and taking pleasure in the sensation of my physical form is icky. It makes people uncomfortable, and therefore it's unsafe. It feels unsafe. Because if my own parents were uncomfortable with my caretakers, were so uncomfortable with something I was doing that it was perceived as by tiny Allie with no capacity to understand and process all of this stuff, that's perceived as a threat. There is a very real sensation of I could be abandoned. In this moment, I'm sort of being abandoned. My natural expression of self is being rejected. And as a small child, you don't have the capacity, the awareness to, stand in a place of power. That's not there. You're just feeling. And almost my very first experience of the feeling of exploring my body and enjoying that was associated with discomfort, shame, and rejection of that, with the energetic projection of that's wrong. And my immediate internal response being to we shut that down. We shut that down because it's not safe. Because it's not wanted by others, and those others are taking care of us. So it's dangerous to do that, to feel that, to even want to do that. Even having that desire becomes dangerous. There's so much secondary judgment and frustration coming in already at this moment of like wishing that it wasn't that way. All of this wishing that it was different because of how frustrating it is to experience that. It's all tangled layers of mind. I am trying to just step back again and again into the place of witness. But thus began my complicated history with self-pleasure. Which then becomes a complicated history with self, because everything self is here to do is please itself. All of it is for self-pleasure in different forms. And so, what a twisted thing to have the most physical form of self-pleasure, the most visceral, the most tangible. Because it's one thing to be enjoying playing with a toy or eating something that tastes good as a kid, or even just existing. Those all have physical components to them. But this one is the most physical, arguably. It's entirely about the physical sensation. And so I started from there to be removed from my body, to be cut off from my form, because it was shameful, because it felt dangerous to enjoy it and to even really be in it. And I don't remember when I started masturbating. I don't remember what led. Oh. Okay, we're gonna get real fucking weird here. I'm putting it all on the line. I'm just, it's probably a good thing that I'm so tired. There's not enough capacity to really withhold and judge this stuff. I'm gonna just express all of my weirdness. I do remember, I don't know how old I was at this point, but this is so strange. Okay, there, Felix the cat, bear with me, it wasn't Felix the cat. But there was I loved Felix the cat, absolutely adored that show and that character. I'm pretty sure it was Felix. And we would rent these videos, from Blockbuster. And I don't remember what it was, what episode or anything, but there was just something having to do with these. All I can see is the imagery. These like giant inflatable like pumps. There were like pumps and I don't remember what was happening, but I think somebody was like squishing him, or I don't remember. I just remember it made me feel something about this like pumping and pistony. Yeah, that kind of thing. Totally, again, like unrelated to bodies. No concept of sexual desire. Certainly not for myself or another person. It was just like, there's something about this like I like that. It spurs something. And that was when I started again. But it wasn't exploration. It was just, there's a sensation here, and let me just hump something, basically, right? Oh, this is a fun one. And again, it was immediately wrapped in shame. It was immediately like, I have to hide this. This is embarrassing. Nobody can know, it's only late at night or early in the morning. And there was always the thought in the back of my mind of somebody walking in and just like, I'm just going to pretend to be asleep, which happened a time or two. Yeah, again, just all of this hiding and not even so much exploration as like, let's just get this over with, almost. Because we don't want it to make anybody uncomfortable. So I never was really present in myself for the experience of physical pleasure. Like, never. Because maybe the first, 2 or 3 times as a very young child, I was there, and then removed from it. And when it did come back, it was all about the visualization of whatever it was that sort of got me going. This thing. And then it became all about the visualization. And again, at a certain point that I'm not sure of, at some point it switched, to actual body parts. I don't remember. I don't have a strong memory there of anything. And it was never my body. That's the thing too. My body was never involved in my own pleasure. In all of the visualization, it wasn't about it. I wasn't there. I was not in the visual. It was other people. Other people, other things, other scenarios. Not me. It was always just watching, I suppose, just the voyeur. It was never my pleasure, my body, my experience. So it's always been that way. These are big words. These are big words in the brain of it's always been. It's the only thing we know. This is the only, this is what's been established. We have no other context for pleasure. I mean, there have been, and I know because I've experienced more recently in my adult life, primarily in the past year, I know I'm capable of focusing solely on the pleasure of the physical form, of the sensation that's happening in the moment. I know I'm capable of that. And allowing myself to experience that. And I know how delicious that feels and how pure it feels. But I also know, I have this belief that it's a struggle to get there. It is a struggle. It's like that's some magical, unicorn. That's a mythical beast to be in the moment, actually in my body, only in my body, not visualizing, not somewhere else, but here, just exploring and experiencing that. I mean, less than 10 times. I could probably count it on one hand, the number of times I've experienced that. All of them incredible, but yeah. So and I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm not going anywhere specific. I just kind of have this desire to talk about all of my sexual shit, all of my fucking whatever trauma, and just put it out there. I just want to talk about it. So 29. So it's always been visualization. It's never been me. And for whatever reason, this is something that would have really embarrassed me to talk about. And I'm just going to put it out there because it's what it is. For whatever reason, I don't know how this started, or if it started in any specific place, but I'm just gonna say gay porn, like men, like two men, the act of a man penetrating another man. That's like always been kind of the, I don't know, and I've tried to figure it out. I don't know if there is any figuring it out. But how much more removed from my own body can I get to than that scenario? And visualizing that, there's no way I'm there. This has literally nothing to do with me. Maybe that's a part of it. Maybe that felt safe. Maybe that's why I was allowed internally to enjoy that, because it's like, I'm clearly not involved in this. This is clearly not my pleasure. This is clearly other people's pleasure. There's no confusing that. There's no questioning that. And so it's sort of safe to watch that and derive pleasure from that, because I couldn't be injected there. I don't know. But, and I know it's also a thing that is fairly common for women who like women. To be actually at least more aroused by gay porn than lesbian porn. And there's a whole story there. But I'm sure other psychological components to it. But that's what it's always been. So then again, how far removed from my own body to be constantly returning to and relying on some sort of visualization of just men, not me. And I mean, it never felt that. Again, there's so much shame there. There's just another layer of shame. There's so many fucking layers of shame. There was a brief period where I did allow myself to, I gave that pleasure permission without judgment to be enjoyed. You know, I could at least enjoy that for a time. And then I don't remember what else shifted, but it became shameful. Clearly, again, it was oh, this is taboo. This is not okay. Not allowed. This is weird. So like every avenue of pleasure became something shameful in whatever way. And I feel like I've gotten more and more removed from it as a result. But it was always the thing I relied upon. At some point there was erotic fan fiction. Oh my god. See, we're just gonna go whole hog with this. I don't remember the first one I read, but I was talking a little bit just about this erotic fiction with fan fiction specifically. But I mean, I'm sure it started with romance novels. Like that language just carried over. Of the language that's used, the way things are described, just like it's throbbing shaft. and you know, her mounds, like, okay, it's very poetic and interesting. Maybe there's just a part of that that's like word porn, because I like that. But that was the next foray of, okay, I do like reading this. Reading about people desiring each other, because that's what's hot. That's what's hot. That's what is arousing, is desire. You know, it's not the actual act as much as, it's not really the act at all. It's the wanting. It is the desire. And this feeling that there's something uncontrolled building inside of you, and basking in that desire and letting it feel good. And that is a desire that I have struggled with giving myself permission to enjoy. And it's so quickly covered up with all of this other shit. With panic, with anxiety, with shame and embarrassment and fear and confusion, and then there's all the shame just for that alone, that it is this big tangled mess, and more fear on top of that. How the fuck are we gonna fix this? Because again, it's a problem. All of that characterization and judgment, and I can see it just keeps going, you know. It just spins and spins. It's like that little fucking loading wheel. Was that Mac or Windows? I don't remember. So then it gets bigger and more complicated. I was always in visualization for sexual pleasure, physical pleasure. And when I met my first boyfriend, I was excited at first, very excited to be experiencing this for real. And then very quickly, I think, you know, maybe the first time that we like dry humped, it was all about the experience, and it felt very, very dangerous and scary, but in a more positive way. Although I was really fucking afraid that my parents were gonna find us because we were in their house, and that component was there too. Again from the fucking beginning. There was fear and shame, and I was already in that place of going, what am I gonna do if that happens? I was already there, worrying, and not in the experience. And then it quickly became, now there's another person involved, and this other person has questions. This other person is noticing if I'm not enjoying myself, if I'm not responding the same way that they are. And there was just immediately pressure. And then it became this sort of like race to have some kind of climax, or at least pretend, from the beginning. Which meant, well, I resort to the one thing that is the only thing that I've ever known that's worked for me. Some sort of visualization of not me, probably two dudes. I'm just being completely honest here. Because that's something safe to witness. It gets me going for whatever reason. There's like undeniable pleasure happening there. You know, you can't fake an erection. And just whatever other components make that work, it just works. I go there. I'm not even present. I'm not present with this person. I'm not present in my body. But if it gets me there, it gets me there, because then this comes to an end and all of the discomfort comes to an end. Then we're safe again. Then I'm safe again. Because the whole time this is happening, it's not safe. So it becomes this race to the finish even. And then where's the fucking pleasure in any of that? it's all just scary and anxious. And, you know, so I was uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable with a lot of it. And then the component of him wanting to do things that I was uncomfortable with, that in my mind, I was like, yeah, I want to do that. But also, it didn't feel good. But I did it anyway. So it was like I was putting myself in this position of feeling unsafe in order to please somebody else, because if I didn't please that person, then I was unsafe. Then there was the risk of that rejection, of that conflict, confrontation. Fuck. Like, I could get in trouble on either side. So I'm just like this chess piece that is trying to pick, I don't know. Not even that. Do I go into the wolf's den or the lion's den? Like, which one am I gonna choose today? None of it happy, none of it relaxed, none of it safe, none of it pleasurable in any real way. And then, he really wanted to actually have sex. We had just kind of been fooling around. And I knew again, it was like I wanted that, but I didn't want that. I wasn't ready. But there was this sort of whole to-do over, I came out here to see you, and I'm gonna go back, and I don't know when I'm gonna see you again. And I really want this. And if you love me, so yeah, I consented. And we snuck out to a place outside, because that was the only way I would even feel remotely safe, not being caught, at least. I still didn't, but so it was like outside on the ground. I mean, there was a blanket, but it was a thin blanket. It was not comfortable. And he didn't use a condom. I think I wanted him to buy them. I was too nervous. I was too afraid to be the one to do that. But I don't know if he just didn't want to. I can't remember, but yeah. And it was extremely painful. It was painful. And I remember thinking, I didn't expect it to hurt like this. Like, I knew about, the hymen. The hymen. Sorry. And it was like I expected that part, but it wasn't that. It was just like, no, this hurts. Like, it's not stopping hurting. So not only no pleasure, but pain. And again, this removal from my body, dissociation from that. There was so much dissociation. It was unsafe in every way, feeling unsafe. emotionally and physically, painful, uncomfortable, and everything about me just separated from myself. And I was just lying there. Just hoping for it to stop. I've done some work with that memory. There was one day that I really felt powerful and sexy and had a lot of feminine energy flowing through me, and I was able to go back to that memory and actually enjoy it. But yeah, there's a part of me that's like, where did that progress go? And then he went back home, and I just, stuffed those feelings away. Not even gonna try to feel that. And I was so afraid that I had gotten pregnant. He pulled out, but, I didn't know anything, and my period was late. It was late because I was so fucking stressed that, of course, it was late. But it showed up. And the whole time I was so anxious and trying not to show it. Trying not to let anyone know. Not my parents, not him. It was just hide everything, repress everything. It's not safe to share. It's not safe to feel. It's not safe to be in your body. All of that shit. And that continued. Then he would solicit me for pictures and say things like, I don't want to have to watch porn, or something like that. I don't want to watch porn. I'd rather look at you. And there was so much like jealousy there, insecurity, right? And again, I didn't want to do it. It wasn't fun. It was just, and it was literally just like body parts. Again, there's nothing fun or cute or sexy about this. Just like, here's a picture of my naked body because that's what you asked for. And that was it. And sometimes I would get a dick pic that I didn't ask for back, but it was like, we'll trade. And I didn't know what to do with that. I didn't particularly want that. And then I felt bad about not wanting it. It's just so... I'm going through all of it. I've been talking about this for 48 minutes, and I'm not even close to finished. So... this may be a record. I don't know how... I don't know if I have an upload time, like a time limit on these videos, because I've had this account for a really long time, but yeah, I guess we'll find it today. We are gonna hit that limit, baby. What a good thing that is. And it just continued. It was never good. Every time I saw him, he wanted to have sex. I felt like I had to, and I wanted to enjoy it. I wanted to. That component was always there too. Like, I wanted to take pleasure in it. This thing is supposed to feel good. Why doesn't it feel good? Like, it's other people enjoy it. Why me? Why? What's wrong with me? More of that. And it was just painful. It was just actually painful every single time. And, he would say things like, my friend and his girlfriend, they have sex all the time and they both really like it. And it took them, a couple times, but now they both like it and they do it all the time. And it was always just like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you like it? And I'm saying the same thing. Like, what's wrong with me? Why don't I enjoy this? And I never had an orgasm. It never even felt good. It was not even. I stopped trying. I stopped pretending because I didn't want to anymore. And he made some effort to like touch me, but again, I was so in that place already of like, I don't want to be here. It's not safe. It doesn't feel good. Why doesn't it feel good? Anger, anxiety, shame, guilt, just this fucking loop that I just wanted it to be over. And so then further, I'm going all the way with this because there's so many layers. There's so much fucking trauma. Like, every single time was a new notch, All of this has been building up. And then a new level of it reached of like, so my dog died. I was in this place of grief and just wanting to be comforted, to be held. And he had come to visit and wanted to have sex. I didn't want to. I was upset. But again, I just let it happen. And he wanted to go down on me. And I really didn't want that at all. But I didn't stop him. And as he was there doing that, I started crying. It was just everything was so wrong. It just all felt so fucking wrong, and I felt so bad. I felt so wrong. And he stopped, and I don't remember what happened after that. I do remember, I think, like, the last time that we had sex, he asked if he could film it. And I said no. And then he begged me. And what did I do? I let him. And I want to acknowledge to myself right now, because I have to start with this somewhere, and it doesn't start with acceptance and forgiveness. I have to accept how much I fucking hated all of that. I fucking hated it. I hated him. I hated him for all of that. And I have to let myself feel that. I have to let myself hate him before I can forgive. I have to let myself hate myself before I can forgive. That step is important. I know that. No, I gotta feel that anger, that I have to feel the hurt, the betrayal, the it shouldn't be that way, it shouldn't have been that way. I have to let that contrast fully be contrast. And take it all the way back too to my dad of I have to let myself feel how could you reject me like that? That it shouldn't be that way. I know. The broader part of me knows all kinds of shit. I can't not. I have to accept this. The reaction. The. The how could you be so ashamed part. I have to let the blame be there first before I can reclaim that power. I have to fully accept it, what I felt. There's anger. There is anger. There's anger at my dad. There's anger at my boyfriend at the time. There's anger at society. There's anger at myself. So much anger at myself. And I'm not wrong to feel that anger. Any of it. I just want to feel that, actually. Because it keeps going. Oh, there's more. Oh, there's more. Did you think the trauma was done? No. Oh, no. I had another long-distance boyfriend after that, who also wanted pictures and all kinds of stuff to have phone sex. It was more into that. That felt a lot safer because there wasn't actually another person there judging me, my performance, my whatever was happening. And again, it was kind of just like this new, ooh, it had that new shiny appeal to it of like, it was a little bit sexier. It was more about the desire, right? Than the physical component, about hearing someone desiring you. And it was mostly about that. I actually was able to let myself be desired up to a point. Then, you know, he started asking for pictures, started telling me about his fantasies specifically of like what he was doing to me. And I didn't really want to hear that part. I didn't want to hear that part. I didn't want to think about that part. I just wanted to know that he wanted me. That was it, right? And I don't even remember like what I thought about, or if I thought about. I'm sure, because again, it came back so many times. I'm sure it was dudes. At a certain point, that did fade away. I mean, I watched other porn. I never watched lesbian porn. That was like off limits. Just never even. I had had romantic attraction to women for a very long time. And that was the first time I felt actual physical desire. It wasn't as powerfully sexual, at least at first. That was also deeply buried. Just wanted to kiss them. Just wanted to hold them and kiss them and love them. It's still, yeah, you know. But it wasn't until that was when I realized, when I was dating this guy long distance, one of his friends, his good friends, was a lesbian, had a girlfriend, and I just thought she was hot, she was attractive, and there was a girl in my bio class who was bi, and I wanted to sit next to her all the time and talk to her, and she was very sexually open too, open to talking about that. She had a boyfriend, but that was hot. And I just started to realize, and then I had another friend. And I'm like, all these girls make me so nervous. Like, nervous in a way that I didn't get nervous around guys. And I started to realize there's a lot more here that I never let myself look at. And broke up with my boyfriend. Told him that I, felt like I was interested in girls, and he was like, "That's okay. You can experiment and do that, and we can still be together." And I was like, "No, I don't want that. You don't get it. I don't want to be with you. I want to be with a girl." Anyway, and then there was that whole sexual awakening where I was like, oh, I really like this. I really like, holy shit, like women together. I think I read about it. Fucking Fingersmith. That book. It's a movie too, which is a great movie. But that book, always loved erotic fiction. that's yeah. And that book set me off, and then that was the first time I was like, holy shit, I can enjoy this. I enjoy this. This feels good. Oh my god. And there's potentially me involved, right? This is not, it's still other people, but it's much closer to me than any of the other people that had ever been in my imagination before. And so that was really nice for a while. It was still all visualization, though. There was very little, there was an awareness of, oh my god, this is fucking hot. Like, I am into this in a way that I've never experienced. I am really into this. But still, mostly visualization. Still, because it just, at that point, it was so not even on my radar to be in my body and just exploring that and the sensations of it. And there's so much judgment of that. I realize that too. Internally, I got another layer of self-judgment, of critiquing and condemning and shaming and calling a problem. Anyway, then I met my girlfriend, ex-girlfriend. The first girlfriend, I haven't dated that many people. And haven't had very many sexual experiences because there was always an emotional component to it that was just missing. It was like, why? I don't know, it was repressed. didn't feel safe. If I didn't feel safe with somebody, I wasn't going to enjoy myself. Why would I even seek that out then? There's no desire there. Anyway, I'm still going. I'm just gonna fucking, I got tea, honey. I'm gonna spill it all. Doesn't matter if anybody sees this or cares or any of that shit. This is for me. This is for me. So I met my girlfriend online, where I had met everybody. All of them online. So it all started with distance. And I think we had like masturbated on Zoom or whatever, Skype. It was Skype at the time, a couple of times. But the first time I went to see her, I really wanted to have sex, but I was also really nervous about it. And she was so, her immediate thing was like, I feel like it's not making love if there's no oral. I don't remember what she said, but it was something about like that was the way. And I was like, okay. Okay. I'm very nervous about this. I don't know anything about this. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to receive this. The last time, because that was in my mind the last time, but I was like, this is different, you know? And I was able to put myself in the place of this is different. This is not the last time. This is not the past. This is something else. But there was very much, again, from the beginning, this pressure to orgasm. And that's what I'm getting to now. And when you are feeling pressured to have a climax, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And that's why I had removed myself, put myself in these other places. And I did it then too. The very first time I was like, oh my God, I have to come or she's going to know something is wrong with me. And it all is wrong. And it just bad. So what do? Go to the fucking dudes banging each other. Visualization. Again, not there, not in my body, not just like what is the most aroused, like clearly aroused without denial thing that I can imagine. That. And just like dissociate from what's happening here. Watch that until we get to the place where we're like, okay, it's safe to come back now because we're about to come. And then it happens and then it's over. And it's like, whew, dodged that bullet. What the fuck? What the fuck, man? What the fuck? So, even with that, there was just so much pressure that I felt. And it was so strange and new, and like I was afraid, and there was a level of discomfort, and you know, of course I never said anything. Again, I wasn't ready for that, but I let it happen and let myself feel like there's something wrong with me. Again, it's just like this panic sets in, and what do? We escape from the panic in the visualization, and we separate, we dissociate, We get it over with as quickly as possible. And then we feel guilty. And then we feel fucking terrible. We feel like ass. Because we just did this and we didn't enjoy it. We wanted to. We wanted to. That was there. The desire, like it was all lined up. Things were flowing. Things were flowing. It was good. And then we just like hit this wall and go, oh, sharp left turn. Run, run, run. And it's so frustrating. And then, you know, yeah, the shame of like, I wasn't thinking about what was even happening when we were together. I was thinking about something totally else. And that guilt. And the why can't I just be here? Why can't I enjoy this? Why me? Again, the frustration and knowing that like, you know, I thought I'd figured it out. Like, I like this. This gets me going. The other stuff with the guys didn't really get me there. Didn't really do a whole lot. This is like, yeah, yes, I feel this. I feel the desire. I feel the want. Things feel good. And then something just turns inside of me and it all shuts down. It just fucking shuts down. And it numbs everything. It numbs the physical sensation. It numbs the emotional experience. And then I fucking hate that. And there's like guilt around that. And just anger and rejection of that part within me. So there's more parts of myself that I'm rejecting as that's happening. Fuck, man. And then there was like a time period where I was more able to focus on the sensation and just be like, I'm fucking aroused. I can actually stay with this and go with this. And that was amazing when I could do that. That was like mind-blowing to me. And I mean mind-blowing, like it felt great. But again, there were so many times too. It was like it had to all just be just right. The stars had to be aligned for me to be in that place where I could just be feeling myself, feeling good, feeling the pleasure, going with the flow of that, and actually have an orgasm. And you know, that was special. And the rest of the time it was, I gotta do something. I feel the pressure. If I don't, you know, the stars aren't aligned today, shit, what do? We do the same thing that we've always done. And then we feel terrible about it. And we hate it. And we hate ourselves. And we repress all of that. And we don't tell anybody. In fact, I think I did. I didn't tell her the details. I mentioned one time that I had always, for whatever reason, liked gay porn. And she was like, ew. You know, how is that possible? Turns out, again, it's like a really common thing for lesbians, whatever, to be into. And again, there's all kinds of psychology there that I am not going to unpack. But just more rejection of like, you're weird, that's weird, it's not okay. More shame in the self. Oh, fucking knows, whatever. So then I'm getting to the end of this here, because I'm just unloading all of my trauma. I'm trauma dumping. Is that what that's called? Is that not just fucking self-expression? Hello? Trauma dumping? Can I not fucking just talk about all my shit and not expect I don't want anybody's opinion. I don't want anyone, whatever. It's like, this needs to come out. That's a separate tangent. We just need to express. That's it. I need to vent. I need to let this out. I want to feel through all of this. I'm walking myself back through this whole history. Because there's a lot of pieces there that hurt and have been rejected. And all of this has been rejected. This whole experience has been rejected. And this is my method of integrating it, of starting the process of integration, of welcoming it back in and saying, yep, that shit happened. And we felt some type of way about it. And pretending that it didn't happen and we didn't feel these things is not serving us. It's not making it go away. It's not getting us to the place that we want to be, of liberation and feeling comfortable and safe in the body and exploring and experiencing pleasure there. It's not doing any of that. So it's time to face it, to bring it back in. And that means not trying to make it feel or look like anything that it wasn't. We got to accept what it was and what we felt and what we're still feeling. That feeling never went anywhere because we didn't let ourselves feel it. So it got stuck and trapped. And that's how we feel now, is stuck and trapped. I just want that energy to flow. So, final portion. Fuck. Things started to get uncomfortable in our relationship. I don't remember when exactly, but we both started drinking a fair amount. And things would just get weird when she was inebriated. There was a lot of tension. She was very belligerent, wanted to start a fight. It was a lot of this back and forth between, it would start usually as she would say something that I had no context for. It was like she'd been having a conversation in her head, and I didn't know, I wasn't privy to it, and then she would say something out loud, and I would be like, what? And she would get upset. She would be offended. Like, you know what I'm talking about. You know, don't pretend that you don't, you're trying to gaslight me. And I'm like, I genuinely don't know. And maybe I missed something and I'm sorry, but I don't know. And that would start a fight. And then other times she would just pick a fight. And then other times she really wanted to have sex. And I was afraid of her. She's smaller than me. But, you know, she had thrown stuff, she had hit stuff, she'd broken stuff. I don't want to shit on her. This is not, but I have to acknowledge what happened. Like, I'm trying to own my role in this too. I did some stupid shit, drunk. Abso-fucking-lutely I did. But she had rage, she had physical aggression that I had not seen, that came out, that scared me, that I didn't know what to do with. And so again, most of the time, I would just consent and say, okay, we're gonna have sex. And I would go to my other place. Sometimes I just pretended that I was enjoying myself. And, you know, a lot of times once she was there, that it was like, it was usually over at that point. But there was one time, and this specifically, a lot of things changed here, that she wanted to penetrate me. And I didn't want that. I did not want it. And I told her so. I said, no, I don't want that right now, or I would rather not, or I don't remember what I said, but I told her no. And she said, okay. And we were in the middle of it, and then she fucking did it. She just did it anyway. And that just flipped a switch. That flipped a fucking switch in me. And I shut down completely. Kind of from that moment on. Just like, again, not safe. Clearly we're not safe. Clearly we're not listened to. And she was drunk, but again, I have to own what I felt. I have to own what my emotional experience was, and I felt fucking betrayed. Just I asked you not to. And we'd been together for quite a long time at that point. I mean, 6 at least years, maybe 7, maybe more. I don't even know. I asked you not to do this. You didn't listen. You don't care. Why am I even pretending? And also, if this doesn't feel good. This is not enjoy. This hurts again. Because it takes a lot of relaxation there for that to be pleasurable to me. And it can be. It absolutely can be. I know that. But if it's not ready, if it's not there, it's not there. It's ow, no, stop. And then all of the shame piled on top of that too, but. So everything just turned off then. And then I didn't want to talk to her about it because I was afraid of her reaction. I was afraid. I was just afraid. I was afraid of things changing. I was afraid of her being upset. I didn't want her to be upset. I had my own people-pleasing, codependent tendencies. That's what it was. It was, and I'm not using this as a bad word because we both displayed narcissistic and codependent tendencies. They're on the same spectrum of manipulation. And she had a little more of the narcissistic side, and I had a little more of the codependent side, but I'm not trying to cast that shadow on anyone. It's not an insult. And she has changed tremendously as a person in the past year. She has grown tremendously. She is operating from a new place of love and really trying to, and that's so clear. And I want to acknowledge that. But that doesn't change what happened and what I felt. It doesn't change what I felt. It doesn't change what my emotional experience was at the time, and I have to own that. And I shut down, and everything just started to fall apart from there. Because then I just didn't want to have sex at all, and I didn't feel like a sexual being at all. I didn't want to touch myself. I didn't want anything. I just didn't want any part of it at that point. It all just hurt. It all just felt wrong and shameful and just unhappy. There's just so much hurt there. And now I'm here. So fucking an hour and a half. This is gonna be my longest video. Fuck it. I still got tea. I'm going all in on this. So then we broke up. And a big part of, I mean, leading up to, there was all kinds of stuff leading up to that, but there was a whole thing around sex, around, you know, you don't find me desirable. That's what it was. She was, well, which, I mean, wasn't untrue, but it had nothing to do with her physical form. It had to do with the fucking trauma that had happened. And it brought back all of the trauma. Oh. I got a text message from my lady. Who is the inspiration for all of this? I mean, this wants to come out, but I'm going to get to that point. I'll try to go in order. Okay, so, I mean, now I'm here. The reason I'm here, why not just say I'm here trying to unpack all of this shit because I want to. Because I'm in this relationship with an actually incredible, beautiful, accepting, compassionate, understanding human being, soul. And for the first time, I'm starting to feel safe to talk about this stuff, to admit to and express what's going on within me in the moment. All of the time, but especially in moments of physical intimacy. I'm letting myself feel this big fucking pile of shit, and I'm putting it all out there in front of somebody. And they're not scared by it. And they're not judging me. And there is no pressure. For the first fucking time, there's no pressure to achieve anything specific, to feel anything specific. There's no shame. It's just accepted. I am accepted in all of my shit. All of the shit that I don't accept in myself, that I fucking hate in myself. I've never experienced that. And it just pushes me so much more to want to feel this and heal this. And I know that's pressure within me. It's not from her. Not even remotely. But there's just such an increased drive to want to untangle this and let it go. I want to let this go. God. And she is so free, and it's so beautiful. how comfortable and free she is in her body and her pleasure and in being there with it. And it's inspiring. It is awe-inspiring, and it's inspiring. That is what I want. I want that. It's magical. It's delicious. I know that I deserve that. I know that I want it. I know that my wanting is evidence of its fulfillment, and that's what's driving all of this. I'm starting here with just, we're starting at the beginning, and I'm just gonna pull this thread. And I don't know, I know, again, if I have a goal, if my goal versus intention, my intention is for energy to shift. My intention is to move into alignment with my desire and allow the fulfillment and full fruition of it. But if my goal is to change something, then it's not going to work, because that's resistance. That's not acceptance. So it starts with acceptance of exactly where I am. Where I am is all fucked up, but that's okay. That's okay. And I've never felt that, and I've never let myself feel that it's okay to feel this form of not okay. I've felt other forms of not okay and accepted those. This is a whole other beast that I have never tackled. I've never even approached before, and it's okay to have all of this shit that I feel. Oh, Jesus. And I'm so grateful. So unbelievably grateful to feel for the first time a safe, shared space that's open and welcome and welcoming. And I know this one's gonna take some time. But I want to get there, and I want to get there for me. I want this for me. I want to be free and comfortable in my body and enjoying it and the sensations of it for me. Because I want it. Because that feels good. Because I deserve that. Because I fucking deserve that. So, about an hour and a half now. I skipped ahead a little bit. Everything fell apart in my relationship for many reasons, but one of the primary components was I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't have a desire to have sex anymore. I felt terrible about that. I felt like it was my fault. She believed that I wasn't physically attracted to her. The attraction wasn't there. It wasn't physical, it was energetic. And it was because of the betrayal that really shut down. But also I owned that. I told her, I have this trauma, like from the first time I had sex, that still comes back to me. And I told her, you penetrated me when you were drunk and I asked you not to. And she apologized. But then it was like, aren't we past this, Like, I told you I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Why aren't you over it? That kind of thing. And then, you need to talk to a therapist about this. Which I'm not going to say is not true, but it was, again, this whole sort of like, I was trying to just express, I already felt bad. I already felt like it was my fault. Like, this is all my fault. And then it was, yeah, it is your fault, basically. And I know, I have to let myself own what my reaction was in my experience. Because I know she was having her own. But it was, okay, so, like, you gotta fix this. Why haven't you fixed this? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know why it's not fixed. I'm just broken. That was the feeling, I don't know how to fix this. And the fixing implies the brokenness. Again, it's a problem. It's a problem. It was made into this big fucking problem. And then the rift between us just grew, and other things happened. A lot of them to do with more alcohol involved. And then she broke up with me and said that I didn't love her. And that was why. And I'm not even, at this point, gonna say that that wasn't true. Because things had changed. My feelings had changed. Because I didn't feel safe, and I didn't feel good. And I felt very damaged. And, I pushed her away in equal measure. But part of me didn't want to, and part of me wanted to. Wanted her to just go away. And she did. And that really hurt for a while. And then I came to the understanding, the realization that that was what I wanted. That I didn't have the guts to go through with. I didn't want to be there anymore. I hadn't. For a while. And even from the beginning, there were all of these doubts. Things that I shoved away. If I had had the consciousness and the awareness and the bravery, which I didn't at the time, it would have been a lot sooner, but it was the way it was supposed to be. It was the way that it had to be in some form or fashion. And now I'm here. And since the end of that relationship, I have been desiring to express and unleash feminine energy, sexual energy, which is creative energy. All creative energy is sexual energy. That's what it is. And I'm on this journey now of rediscovery of self in every aspect, and really wanting to be in my fucking body. I want to be here. I've never wanted to be here so much. And I have been, over the past year, so inspired by this incredible person. Woman. I mean, human being, but this amazing woman who is so full of passion and desire and just exuding sexual energy that it just inspires me. It's so remarkable, and I want that. I want that for myself. So I know that it's mine. I know that it is. I know that it is. And I'm gonna end with that. I'm gonna sit right there. I don't know how I get there. I don't know how. I don't see the path, but I know that I do. Because I couldn't want it otherwise. So that's it. Sexual healing. It's mine. It's mine to achieve. It's mine to receive. Thank you. And it has been received. There's a lot of doubt there. There's so much doubt there of ever reaching that point, but I know the desire is strong. The doubt might be equally strong at this moment, but the scales will tip. The desire wouldn't be so strong if it weren't so fucking true, if it weren't so real. So yeah, I am in big time uncharted territory. It's scary, it's strange, I don't know what's here and I don't know where I'm going, but I am so excited to find out. And I just know it's good. I know it's all good. No matter what it is, it's good. And it only gets gooder. That is my expression. Whole fucking hour and 42 minutes of it. I think I'm gonna leave it there. If there's anybody who actually watched this, who is actually still here, oh my god, hi. Thank you. Clearly there's something that resonated here. So I want to share in that resonance with you and just say, we're in this together. We do get there. We absolutely do. It's time to let go of the timetable, to let go of any schedule or what it's supposed to look like or when or why or any of those things, any of the details. To say it's okay, I don't know how this works. I don't know how this works. But I'm going to trust it. I'm going to trust that my soul knows what it's doing, that it is operating on my behalf, on the behalf of my highest good, and that this is in my highest good. My physical pleasure is a part of my highest good. This is in there. This is a big piece of that delicious cake that I have baked. This is for me to enjoy. This is what my soul is working on now. And it's got it. It's good. It is taken care of. This is provided for. This is received. This I have asked for, clearly I'm asking. And it is given. And my soul is saying so. And saying it's okay, just trust it. It's given. It's received. Just let it be. Now, let it be. Let it go. Hold that. You have created the void energetically of the desire and knowing that it will be fulfilled. And you're just leaving it open. It's just leaving it open now. I don't know how, where, when, but I know that it is. And now I'm just gonna go about being. I'm just gonna go to the next best feeling thing to me. And if that is just sitting with a cup of tea, then that's what it is. It doesn't matter. That healing is taking place. within me right now. Right now, that healing energy is moving through me and shifting things and dissolving things. And, oh, my mom's calling. Oh, shit. Call her back in a second. Right now, that healing is taking place. Right now, and continuously, and there's nothing I have to do. Just know that it's happening and trust it. Allow it. Know that I am allowing it. That I am receiving it. Whether I feel it or not, it's happening. It is healed. I am free. Everything that I desire is mine and is received, including and especially this. I can trust my soul. I can trust the universe in this ask, in this deliverance, in this process. I don't have to give it detail. I don't have to explain. I don't have to know anything. It's happening. It is. It's done. So may it be. So it is. Thank you for your witness, you crazy person, if you're here. You crazy person, thank you. But truly, I appreciate it, and I witness you if you are here. I witness you in love, and we are on this journey together. One way or another, we are. I know I'm not alone in this. I know that. More and more clearly. Have a beautiful day. You're not broken. But you know what? It's okay to play broken. We're never not broken. That's how our wholeness works. There's nothing wrong with you. Perhaps that's it. There's nothing wrong with the brokenness. It's not a thing to fix. It's just components shifting and moving and continuously growing and evolving and becoming more, becoming better, freer. I'm gonna stop. Have a beautiful day. I love you.